Summer Transfer Roundup. 3 big moves that could shake up the Premier League. The transfer window never sleeps, and this summer promises to be one of the most exciting in recent memory. With Premier League clubs scrambling to strengthen their squads and balance their books, some surprising moves could be on the cards. Today, we dive deep into 3 major transfer rumors that have caught our attention and could completely change the landscape of English football. From Nottingham Forest's rising star potentially making a shock move to Manchester United, to Arsenal's pursuit of Newcastle's prized winger, and Chelsea's ambitious swoop for one of Europe's most promising talents. These deals represent more than just player movements. They could define the coming season and reshape the power balance in the Premier League. But are these transfers realistic? What would they mean for the clubs involved? And most importantly, which deals are most likely to actually happen? Let's break down each potential move and examine what makes them so intriguing. Hudson-Odoi's potential return to the big stage. Remember when Callum Hudson-Odoi was the hottest prospect in English football? The 24-year-old winger burst onto the scene at Chelsea, becoming the youngest player ever to start a Premier League match for the Blues at just 17. Now, after a journey that took him through the highs and lows of Stamford Bridge, a loan spell in Germany with Bayer Leverkusen, and a surprising move to Nottingham Forest, he might be ready for his next big challenge. Manchester United are reportedly considering a summer move for the former England international, who has impressed during his time in the City Ground. With Forest fighting to establish themselves in the Premier League, Hudson-Odoi has been one of their standout performers, showing the kind of pace and creativity that once made him one of Europe's most sought-after young talents. But why would Manchester United be interested in a player who left Chelsea for a relatively modest fee? The answer lies in both his potential and United's current struggles. United are in the market for attacking reinforcements after an extremely poor season that currently has them in 16th place in the Premier League table. For a club of United's stature, this position is simply unacceptable, and manager Ruben Amorim is clearly looking for players who can make an immediate impact. Hudson-Odoi has caught the eye of manager Ruben Amorim with his 5 goals and 3 assists in 29 Premier League games. While these numbers might not seem spectacular at first glance, they represent consistent contribution from a player who has been playing for a team fighting relegation battles rather than competing for trophies. What makes this potential transfer particularly interesting is the price tag. At £52.9 million, Hudson-Odoi would represent a significant investment for United, but one that could pay dividends. He's still just 24 years old, meaning he has his best years ahead of him, and his experience in different leagues and systems could be exactly what United needs to revitalize their attack. The left-wing position has been a problem area for United for several seasons. While they have talented players, they've struggled to find consistency and the kind of direct running that can unlock stubborn defenses. Hudson-Odoi's pace and ability to beat defenders one-on-one could be the missing piece in United's tactical puzzle. However, there's competition for his signature. Italian giants Roma and Napoli are sniffing around this summer for the 3-time capped England international. This interest from Serie A clubs shows that Hudson-Odoi's talent hasn't gone unnoticed across Europe, and it could drive up his price even further. For Forest, losing Hudson-Odoi would be a massive blow. But the financial reality of modern football means that even established Premier League clubs sometimes have to sell their best players to balance the books. Nottingham Forest have opened talks to tie down Callum Hudson-Odoi to a new deal, suggesting they're desperate to keep him. But if a big enough offer comes in, they might not be able to resist. The question for United fans is whether Hudson-Odoi can rediscover the form that made him such an exciting prospect at Chelsea. His time at Forest has shown he can perform in the Premier League, but stepping up to a club with United's expectations and pressure is a different challenge entirely. If he can handle that pressure, this could be the signing that kickstarts United's return to the top of English football. Arsenal's Gordon pursuit. A sign of ambition or desperation? While Manchester United are looking to rebuild, Arsenal are trying to take the final step from contenders to champions. The Gunners have come agonizingly close to winning the Premier League in recent seasons, falling just short to Manchester City. Now, they're targeting players who could make the difference in those crucial moments, and Anthony Gordon fits that bill perfectly. Arsenal are considering Newcastle winger Anthony Gordon after cooling their interest in Nico Williams. This shift in focus tells us a lot about Arsenal's transfer strategy. They're not just looking for any winger. They want someone who understands the Premier League, who can hit the ground running, and who has the mentality to perform in high-pressure situations. Gordon, at 24, represents everything Arsenal are looking for in a modern winger. He's quick, direct, and has already proven he can perform at the highest level. His £99.2 million valuation might seem steep, but in today's market, proven Premier League talent commands premium prices. What makes this potential transfer so intriguing is the context surrounding it. Newcastle could fall foul of the Premier League's profitability and sustainability rules, which means they might be forced to sell some of their best players regardless of their wishes. This creates an opportunity for clubs like Arsenal to swoop in for players who wouldn't normally be available. The £80 million price tag mentioned in various reports would make Gordon one of Arsenal's most expensive signings ever, but it might be worth it. Arsenal have struggled with consistency in their wide positions, often relying too heavily on Bukayo Saka. Adding Gordon would give them another genuine threat from wide areas and provide the depth they need to compete on multiple fronts. But there's a complication. Gordon has ended speculation over Newcastle's future by signing new long-term deal as recently as October 2024. This new contract runs until 2030, giving Newcastle significant leverage in any negotiations. However, football is unpredictable, and financial pressures can force even the most determined clubs to sell their prize assets. From Gordon's perspective, a move to Arsenal would represent a step up in terms of Champions League football and the chance to compete for major trophies. Newcastle, despite their ambitious ownership, are still building their project, while Arsenal are ready to win now. For a player in his prime, that difference could be crucial. The tactical fit is also interesting. Arsenal under Mikel Arteta have developed a very specific style of play, emphasizing possession-based football with quick transitions. Gordon's direct running and ability to stretch defenses could add a new dimension to their attack, giving them more options when teams sit deep and defend. However, Arsenal fans should be cautious about getting too excited. Newcastle are unlikely to sell willingly, and Gordon seems happy on Tyneside. Any deal would require Arsenal to make an offer that Newcastle simply cannot refuse, and even then, they would need to convince Gordon that the move is right for his career. The coming weeks will be crucial in determining whether this transfer has legs or if it's just speculation. But one thing is certain. If Arsenal are serious about winning the Premier League, they need to be prepared to pay big money for big players, and Gordon certainly fits that description. Chelsea's youth revolution continues with Gittens. While Manchester United and Arsenal are targeting established Premier League stars, Chelsea are taking a different approach. Their pursuit of Jamie Gittens from Borussia Dortmund represents the continuation of their strategy of investing in the world's most promising young talents. At just 20 years old, Gittens has already established himself as one of Europe's most exciting prospects. His development at Dortmund has been impressive, and now Chelsea are reportedly willing to pay £65 million to bring him to Stamford Bridge. This potential transfer makes perfect sense when you consider Chelsea's recent approach to the market. Under their current ownership, they've focused heavily on signing young players with high potential, betting that some of them will develop into world-class talents. Gittens fits this profile perfectly. What makes this signing particularly intriguing is the player's background. Born in England, Gittens came through Manchester City's youth system before moving to Germany to continue his development. His decision to leave England as a teenager shows he's not afraid to take risks and step outside his comfort zone, qualities that could serve him well at Chelsea. Dortmund have a reputation for developing young talents and selling them for significant profits, and Gittens could be their next big success story. His pace, dribbling ability, and eye for goal have made him a key player for both club and country at youth level. For Chelsea, adding Gittens would give them another option in wide areas while also representing a long-term investment. At 20, he has the potential to be a key player for the next decade, making the £65 million fee seem more reasonable when viewed over his potential career at the club. The position marker showing a dash rather than a specific position is interesting, as it suggests Gittens' versatility. Modern football values players who can play multiple positions, and his ability to operate across the front line would be valuable for any team. However, Chelsea will face competition for his signature. Young talents of his caliber are always in demand, and Dortmund might prefer to sell to a club outside the Premier League to avoid strengthening a potential Champions League rival. The timing of this potential transfer is also significant. Chelsea have struggled to find consistency in recent seasons, and adding young, hungry players could be exactly what they need to rebuild their culture and mentality. Gittens represents the kind of player who could grow with the team and become a key figure in their next successful era. The bigger picture. What these transfers tell us. These three potential transfers reveal a lot about the current state of the Premier League and the different approaches clubs are taking to squad building. Manchester United are trying to rebuild with proven talent, Arsenal are looking for the final pieces to complete their puzzle, and Chelsea are investing in the future. Each deal also highlights the financial realities of modern football. Clubs are having to be more creative in their approach to transfers, whether that's taking advantage of other teams' financial difficulties or investing in young players who might not pay dividends for several years. The success or failure of these transfers could have significant implications for the upcoming season. If United can sign Hudson-Odoi and he rediscovers his best form, they could be back in contention for European places. If Arsenal land Gordon, they might finally have the depth to sustain a title challenge. And if Chelsea's bet on Gittens pays off, they could have found their next superstar. But transfers are never straightforward, and many factors beyond pure footballing ability determine whether a deal gets done. Agent fees, wage demands, personal terms, and simple timing all play crucial roles in modern transfers. What's certain is that this summer's transfer window promises to be one of the most exciting in recent memory. With clubs willing to spend big money on the right players and several high-profile moves in the pipeline, fans can expect plenty of drama before the window closes. Conclusion. A summer of high stakes and big decisions. As we've seen with these three potential transfers, the summer window represents more than just player movements. It's about clubs making statements of intent, players taking the next steps in their careers, and fans dreaming about what might be possible with the right additions. Hudson-Odoi's potential move to Manchester United represents redemption and second chances. After a difficult period in his career, he has the opportunity to return to the biggest stage and show that the hype surrounding him as a teenager was justified. Gordon's possible switch to Arsenal would be about ambition and the relentless pursuit of success. Both player and club are ready to win now, and sometimes those perfect alignments of timing and ambition create the most successful transfers. Gittens' rumored move to Chelsea embodies hope and the belief in young talent. It's a reminder that not every big signing needs to be established and proven. Sometimes the best investments are in players who are yet to reach their peak. Whether any of these deals actually happen remains to be seen, but the fact that they're being seriously discussed shows the ambition and financial power of Premier League clubs. As fans, we can only wait and see which of these exciting possibilities become reality. What do you think about these potential transfers? Which one would have the biggest impact on the Premier League? And are there any other moves you're hoping to see this summer? The transfer window may be unpredictable, but one thing is certain. It's never boring, and this summer looks set to be particularly thrilling for football fans everywhere.